Welcome back to Close Up. Governor Chris Sununu is our guest this morning. Last time we had you here in November, you admitted that the calls were likely to start coming soon from those top Republicans in Washington trying to see if you might be interested in a run for U.S. Senate. So where's your head on that? Is there any interest in the epic political heavyweight fight that would be Sununu-Shaheen 3?
I just took the inauguration yesterday.
Yeah,
I took the oath
yesterday. Thinking about this already,
no,
right?
I don't have to start thinking about anything, actually. You know what I have to start thinking about? The state of New Hampshire, right? That we have a budget, we have policies, we have all these things we're really driving on. No joke, furthest thing from my mind right now. So yeah, we got a lot to do. We got a lot of work ahead of us in the state of New Hampshire. That's all I'm really focused on.
Will you entertain the idea, though?
Look, I'll take anybody's phone call.
But it's not something you're actively thinking about?
No, not something I'm actively thinking about.
Okay, you're the first
Would you entertain the idea?
That's something.
If they called you, Adam,
this is a great seat. This is the only seat that I want to keep.
Well, I like the seat I have in Concord.
Okay,
so we're in the
keep
same
doing this on
line.
Sundays. Here we go. All right. So you're the first governor who's had to disclose your inaugural fund spending. I was listening to you on the radio the first time you addressed this publicly back in December. You said you were kind of upset at some of the insinuations that were being made here about the spending that goes on. I believe that your sister received about $40,000 to $50,000. Your campaign manager received $40,000 to $50,000 to set up and execute the two inaugural events. So what is upsetting about this scrutiny? I guess, why do you feel like this is unfair?
Well, first, we've disclosed and been more public about our spending and contributions than any governor in history, and we've disclosed it exactly as the law prescribed. So you can see every dollar that's come in. You've seen where we spent every dollar. You can't say that about any other governor. So we've been very, very forthright in doing so. We put on 3 events. We hired a lot of people. Frankly, my sister and I had some of the folks that had worked for me previously do a lot of that work, and it is a lot of work. I mean, it's basically raising close to $500,000, putting all these events on, coordinating everything. It's a lot of work, and we paid them as exactly fair market value, or maybe even a little below, but fair market value for anybody that would have done those events and done those services. So we've disclosed more than ever before. We follow the law exactly as it should be, exactly as is prescribed, and frankly, so to be scrutinized and criticized for that is it's just political. I mean, it's just fishing for something that really isn't there. So yeah, I think it's unfair. And look, if they want to change the laws and do something different, then by all means do that, and we'll follow the law exactly as prescribed. But it is a private nonprofit. It is not campaign driven. It has nothing to do with politics. There's a very clear line there, and we treat ourselves more openly than any other private nonprofit in the state in doing so.
Is anything going to change for the spending on these inaugurals?
Well, the inaugurals are different.
Okay, so but I was saying, I guess you have 2 inaugurals.
In terms of how we spend the money?
Compensation, it's going to be about the same as last time.
Oh yeah, no, I don't imagine. I think we're doing 2 events, and one will be tonight, or well, was Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, we pre-tape here, so yeah. But we're in the process of that.
And one will be next week up at the Mount Washington. It should be great.
The Medicaid work requirement has been a bit of a flashpoint lately. Democrats have been criticizing you on this point. They want to go in a different direction. You're saying the system is good as it is. If people do fall behind on the community engagement requirements there, should they be losing their access to care?
Well, let's be very clear. The Democrat leadership has said that they want to stick with the bipartisan compromise that we all reached last session, that the work requirement should be there, and that's it. There was a flashpoint, as you said, on the rules driving this about a couple weeks ago. But the fact is, I don't think people realize the Trump administration has actually driven more flexibility for us. You can volunteer to meet the work requirement. You can go to school to meet the work requirement. Part-time job, full-time job, whatever it might be, and it's 20 hours a week. It's actually very, very flexible. And it was designed in a way that meets all the laws, meets all the rules, and is frankly going to be done right. So the flashpoint is more political than anything else. People are, certain folks just want to make political hay out of something, but it's a great program, and it gives people able-bodied working adults that are getting free health care through Medicaid. All we're simply saying is, the 20 hours a week, meet that stipulation. They self-attest to it, right? So there's a lot in the first year. There's a lot of flexibility. There isn't like the government is coming and knocking on your door every day saying, "Where are your hours?" There's tons of flexibility built in there. So it's all political talking points at this point.
The Democrats say they're trying to tailor their paid family and medical leave legislation in such a way that it's going to be able to get to a yes from you. Is this something you think you're going to be able to
tailor it out of an income tax? Because that's what it is. Let's be very honest. The Democrats' paid family medical leave plan is just bad. it's an income tax. Our plan is actually innovative. It isn't an income tax. You opt in if you want to opt in. It keeps the rates, the pricing incredibly low. It actually, more businesses can opt in than even under their plan. It provides massive amounts of flexibility in the system. We're rolling that out in a couple weeks. It's going to be a pretty big announcement in a couple weeks. I think a lot of people will be very excited. So I understand people want paid family medical leave. Frankly, the Republicans have gotten together and come up with an idea that's just so much better, because it isn't a forced income tax. It doesn't lock people into a system that they don't want to be locked into. That's never the New Hampshire way.
This new announcement that's coming, though, this is not legislation. This is going to be something you're working on again on the executive side?
It'll require a little bit of legislation. What it's going to do is basically cover all of the state employees, which their plan didn't, by the way, all the state employees, and use that as basically the base pool, which keeps the rates incredibly low. And then if employers want to opt in as part of that co-joined plan, they can, and they get those incredibly low rates too. It's very simple.
So obviously Senator Feltes has been working on this in the Senate. It seems like no secret these days that he's making the rounds and talking to a lot of Democrats about a possible run for governor himself in 2020. Does that make working with him more difficult if there is a political consideration at play there?
No, but when you're talking about paid family medical leave, their idea is an income tax. That's just not going to happen. I will not let that happen. It's not just for me, it's for the 1.35 million people that I represent. The Democrats, you know, when they come up with these ideas, free college, right? Well, we're going to tax people and we're going to use taxpayer dollars and give everyone free college. Frankly, the Republicans came up with a much better idea, which we talked about at the top of the show. We're going to use existing monies, repurpose it, and allow kids not just to get a free associate's degree, but hardwire them into a job at the same time at no cost to the taxpayer. These are, when you get down to the brass tacks, you put a little thought behind it, you understand how these programs work, you can really come up with innovative ideas, and you empower other folks to be part of those solutions. To be very blunt on those two ideas, the Democrats have one idea: tax people, push the program, and we'll take political credit for it. That's not the New Hampshire way. That's frankly just bad management. So we're not going to let that happen. We're going to go push hard, not just on our ideas. Of course, there's some flexibility. If folks have ideas, we want them to come forward. We're going to be flexible on things, but we are not going to tax people out of their shoes in this state, become like all the other states. It would be devastating to our economy. It'd be devastating to what New Hampshire is really all about. There's a reason our economy is booming here. There's a reason young people are flocking here. Businesses are flocking to New Hampshire. We've set up a model that really works, and we got to keep driving on that model. It's a model of success, a model that empowers the individual and empowers businesses simply to keep New Hampshire the best place to live, work, and raise a family.
As we wrap up here, a question on bail reform. The courts have been trying to get this implemented, but there have been some instances where they raised some red flags, if you will. For instance, just this last week in Conway, a Kennett High School paraprofessional was arrested for possession of child sex abuse images. He was then PR bailed, essentially let out right away. His defense attorney said, hey, this guy doesn't have any money, and the judge agreed that the new evidentiary standard under bail reform didn't allow her to hold him in preventative detention, essentially. Is this an issue for you? If someone, is that something that needs to change?
Well, we have to really take a look at it again. I had a lot of concerns with it going forward. I think we knew that the system was going to have glitches like this, if you will. So absolutely it has to be revisited. We have to close these loopholes and make sure we understand the true impacts of the legislation and how it is potentially either letting people out or simply just not working for the system. So I very much encourage the legislature to come back, work with us, and try to close these loopholes and find just a better solution for the state.
Okay. Do you have a New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution, I guess, is to finish my last year's New Year's resolutions. I'm not quite there yet.
All right. Governor Chris Sununu, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.